What do we have here?
That's not mine. That's a felony, sir. You're under arrest.
You just planted that unit. It wasn't in my pocket 30 seconds ago.
You need to...
Well, what do we have here? That's not mine. That's a Schedule II controlled substance. That's a felony, sir. You just planted that. You're under arrest. Put your hands behind your back. Officer Paulson, badge number 2847. My Ring doorbell camera has been recording this entire encounter from the moment you pulled up. 2 seconds of complete silence. In those 2 seconds, Derek Paulson's brain was performing calculations. Calculating whether this man was bluffing. Calculating whether he'd checked for cameras before approaching. Calculating 8 years of complaints he thought he'd buried. Calculating whether that small plastic baggie, the one he'd just pulled from his patrol car and planted in this man's jacket pocket 14 seconds earlier, was about to end everything. The answer was yes, but this career-ending, life-destroying, federal investigation triggering moment didn't start here. It started 5 minutes and 23 seconds earlier. October 18th, 2023, 4:47 p.m., Oakmont Estates, Riverside County, California. A quiet cul-de-sac where the median home price hit $740,000, and the crime rate ranked among the lowest in the state, where neighbors installed Ring cameras, not because of criminals, but because of package thieves stealing Amazon deliveries. Marcus Chen, 38 years old, was walking to his mailbox. He wore business casual attire, slacks, button-down shirt, school ID badge still clipped to his belt from parent-teacher conferences that had ended 20 minutes earlier. He taught American history for 14 years at the high school 3 miles away, where just last month the district had named him Teacher of the Year. What Officer Derek Paulson saw when he drove past was something entirely different. Paulson had been patrolling Sector 4 for 6 years. He knew every street, every corner, every face that belonged. And when he saw an Asian man in a neighborhood that was 94% white walking toward a mailbox cluster, his hand moved toward his radio, then stopped. No need to call it in. This would be quick. Just another stop. Just another suspicious person in the wrong neighborhood. Just another arrest to pad his numbers and earn that commendation his sergeant kept promising. He'd done this 426 times before over 8 years. But Marcus Chen wasn't like the others. Chen wasn't just any teacher. Georgetown University, master's degree in American history with a specialization in constitutional law. Published researcher on Fourth Amendment protections. Board member of the local ACLU chapter. Guest lecturer at the community college on citizens' rights and civil liberties. He'd moved to Oakmont Estates 6 months earlier with his wife and 2 children ages 8 and 11. He was active in the community, coached youth basketball, volunteered at the food bank, attended every neighborhood association meeting. 3 weeks before this Wednesday afternoon, after the third package theft on his street, Chen had installed a Ring doorbell camera, $99 on Amazon. He thought it would catch porch pirates. It would catch something far worse. Derek Paulson, 34 years old, 8 years with the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, Patrol Division, Sector 4. On paper, commendations for arrest numbers, citations for proactive policing, certificates for community safety initiatives. Off paper, 9 complaints spanning those 8 years. Excessive force, racial profiling, unlawful searches, false arrest, evidence tampering allegations. Every single complaint dismissed by his supervisor, Captain Linda Morrison, who always used one phrase when questioned: officers need discretion to do their jobs. Paulson believed his badge gave him that discretion. He was about to discover otherwise. Drop a comment with where you're watching from and hit subscribe, because what this Ring camera is about to capture doesn't just destroy one officer's career. It exposes an entire system of accountability failure that protected him for nearly a decade. Paulson pulled his patrol car to the curb 30 feet from Chen's mailbox. He exited without announcing a reason for the stop. His hand rested near his weapon, a posture specifically designed to intimidate. "Hey, stop right there. What are you doing?" Chen turned slowly, calmly, mail in his hand. "I'm getting my mail. I live here." Paulson stepped closer, invading Chen's personal space. "I need to see some ID. Now." Chen could have complied, could have shown his driver's license and ended it there. But 14 years teaching civics and constitutional law meant he knew something critical. Illegal stops don't become legal through compliance. They become precedent. "Officer, before I provide identification, I need to know, what is the reasonable suspicion for this stop?" Paulson's jaw tightened visibly. "Don't get smart with me. I'm not being smart. I'm asking a legal question. Under Terry versus Ohio, you need articulable reasonable suspicion to detain me. What is it?" Paulson stepped directly into Chen's personal space now, close enough that Chen could smell coffee on his breath. "This is a high-crime area. We've had break-ins." "Officer, Oakmont Estates has one of the lowest crime rates in Riverside County. The Homeowners Association publishes the statistics quarterly, and I'd still like to know what specific articulable facts led you to suspect me of criminal activity." "You fit a description." What description specifically? Height, weight, clothing, age? What description? A pause. Paulson couldn't answer because there was no description. There was no crime. There was just an Asian man in a white neighborhood, and Paulson's assumption that he didn't belong. Are you a lawyer or something? Chen's voice remained calm, professional, the same measured tone he used when a student challenged him in class with a question designed to derail the lesson. No, officer. I'm a teacher. I teach constitutional law at Riverside High School. I also have a master's degree from Georgetown University in American history, specializing in Fourth Amendment protections. I've published research on illegal search and seizure, and I sit on the board of the local ACLU chapter. This should have been Derek Paulson's exit moment. Any rational officer would have recognized the danger signs: educated victim, constitutional expertise, calm demeanor, possible recording device, witnesses potentially watching. But Paulson wasn't thinking rationally. He was 34 years old with 8 years on the force and 9 dismissed complaints. Captain Morrison had always backed him, always. This teacher, this smug, constitutional law spouting teacher, was making him look weak in his own patrol sector. So Derek Paulson made a choice. The choice that would cost Riverside County $1.2 million and cost him every credential he'd ever earned. I said, "Are you a lawyer?" "I answered your question, officer. I'm a teacher with expertise in constitutional law, and I'm asking you again, formally and clearly, what is your reasonable, articulable suspicion that I'm engaged in criminal activity?" Paulson's hand moved to his belt, resting on his handcuffs. "Turn around. I'm searching you for weapons." "Officer, I do not consent to this search." "I don't need your consent. Officer safety. Turn around, now." Chen complied. Not because Paulson had legal authority, he didn't, but because physically resisting an illegal search could be twisted into resisting arrest. Chen knew the game. More importantly, he knew how to win it. For the record, it is 4:52 p.m. on Wednesday, October 18th, 2023. I am being searched without probable cause or consent at my own residence, at my own mailbox. I am not resisting. I am stating clearly that I do not consent to this search. Chen's verbal timestamp wasn't for Paulson's benefit. It was for the recording. The Ring camera mounted beside his front door, 200 feet away, capturing everything in 1080p high definition with crystal clear audio. Paulson patted down Chen's jacket, his pants pockets, found nothing. Wallet with driver's license showing the address, keys to the house visible in the background, cell phone, all ordinary items belonging to a man at his own mailbox. Empty your pockets, everything. Chen complied without protest, placed each item on the hood of Paulson's patrol car: wallet, keys, phone, a receipt from the grocery store. Nothing illegal, nothing suspicious, nothing that could possibly justify this stop. This is where most officers would have cut their losses. No contraband, no weapons, educated victim documenting everything with timestamps. Smart move, apologize for the confusion, get back in the patrol car, drive away. But Paulson had already invested too much ego. He needed to win. He needed that arrest to justify the stop he should never have made. He walked to his patrol car, opened the center console. 37 seconds. That's how long Derek Paulson spent at his vehicle. 37 seconds to retrieve a small plastic baggie. 37 seconds to make a choice that would trigger a 58-page internal affairs investigation, a Department of Justice civil rights probe, and 5 years of federal oversight. 37 seconds to commit a felony on camera. Marcus Chen watched. He didn't move, didn't speak. He simply watched Officer Paulson walk to the patrol car, open the console, retrieve something small, and return. Chen knew exactly what was about to happen, because Derek Paulson wasn't the first officer in Riverside County accused of planting evidence. According to the complaint records Chen would later review, Paulson was the third officer with such allegations. The difference this time, irrefutable proof. I need to do one more check. Officer, you already searched me thoroughly and found nothing. Turn around. Paulson's hands moved to Chen's jacket pocket, the same pocket he'd already searched 2 minutes earlier, the same pocket that had been empty. Well, what do we have here? He pulled out a small plastic baggie containing white powder. That's not mine. That's a Schedule II controlled substance, sir. Possession is a felony in California. Chen's voice remained steady. No panic, no anger, just clear, documented facts. Officer Paulson, that was not in my pocket 90 seconds ago when you conducted your first search and found nothing. You just planted that evidence. You're under arrest. Put your hands behind your back. And here, in this moment, Chen deployed the information that would end Derek Paulson's career. Officer Paulson, badge number 2847, Riverside County Sheriff's Department. My Ring doorbell camera has been recording this entire encounter from the moment you pulled up to my residence. The footage captured you approaching me without cause. It captured you searching me the first time and finding nothing. It captured you walking to your patrol car. It captured you opening your center console and retrieving that baggie. And it just captured you planting it in my jacket pocket during your second search. 2 seconds of complete silence. Derek Paulson's eyes darted to Chen's front door, to the small black circle mounted beside it. The Ring camera, recording in high definition, time-stamped, stored in the cloud where Paulson couldn't access it or delete it. In those 2 seconds, his brain processed the reality. He was caught, not by a witness who could be discredited, not by shaky phone video that could be called unclear, but by security footage with perfect audio and video from a camera mounted on the home of a man who taught constitutional law and had the ACLU on speed dial. Derek Paulson handcuffed Marcus Chen anyway, because at that point, what else could he do? Admit the planting on his own body camera, apologize and hope Chen wouldn't file a complaint. Chen sat in that patrol car for 47 minutes before a supervisor arrived, reviewed the situation, and quietly released him without charges. The supervisor saw what was coming. Everyone who looked at the facts saw what was coming. Within 72 hours, Internal Affairs assigned the case to Detective Sarah Kim, 16 years with the department, 6 years in IA, known for thorough investigations that followed evidence regardless of pressure from command staff. Kim watched the Ring camera footage first. The video was devastating in its clarity. 4:47 p.m., Paulson's patrol car pulls up. No dispatch call, no backup requested, no reason for being there. 4:48 p.m., Paulson approaches Chen at his own mailbox, demands ID without articulating any suspicion. 4:50 p.m., Chen questions the legal basis. Paulson cannot provide one. 4:52 p.m., first search. Paulson finds nothing. 4:53 p.m., Paulson walks to patrol car, opens center console, retrieves small object. 4:54 p.m. second search. Paulson discovers baggie in previously searched pocket. 4:54 p.m. Chen states on camera that evidence was planted. Identifies Paulson by name and badge number. The footage was irrefutable. But Detective Kim didn't stop there. She pulled Derek Paulson's complete service record. What she found would expose not just one officer's misconduct, but an entire system's failure. 9 complaints over 8 years. Year 1. Excessive force during routine traffic stop, closed by Captain Morrison. Finding, within department policy. Year 2. Racial profiling allegation from black motorist stopped in white neighborhood. Dismissed by Morrison. Finding, insufficient evidence. Year 3. Unlawful vehicle search. Closed without interview of complainant. Finding, probable cause established. Year 3. False arrest claim. Dismissed. Finding, officer discretion appropriately exercised. Year 5. Harassment complaint from residents in area Paulson described as high crime. Closed by Morrison. Finding, unfounded. Year 6. Evidence planting allegation. Never investigated. Dismissed by Morrison. Finding, complainant lacks credibility. Year 6. Discriminatory enforcement pattern noted by community group. Closed. Finding, no pattern found. Year 7. Illegal detention of teenager. Dismissed. Finding, reasonable suspicion present. Year 8. Excessive force on handcuffed suspect. Closed by Morrison. Finding, justified response to resistance. 9 complaints, 9 dismissals. All by the same supervisor who never interviewed witnesses, never reviewed available video, never conducted any meaningful investigation. But Kim went even deeper. She pulled every stop Paulson had made over his 8-year career, all 427 of them. The statistical analysis was staggering. 312 stops involved people of color. That's 73% of his total stops, in a county where the non-white population was only 18%. If stops were truly random and based on actual suspicious behavior, the probability of this racial disparity was less than 1 in 1,000. Statistical near impossibility. Have you or someone you know ever experienced something like this? Drop your story in the comments. More damning details emerged. Of those 427 stops, 89% resulted in no arrest and no citation, no contraband found, no outstanding warrants, no actual criminal activity. Just stops that went nowhere because they were never based on real suspicion. Kim identified a clear pattern. Paulson targeted minorities in predominantly white neighborhoods. His stop reports used identical coded language across incidents. Subject appeared out of place, didn't match neighborhood demographics, fit general description of suspect. And in 14 separate incidents over 8 years, Paulson's body camera footage was either corrupted, unavailable, or conveniently angled away during critical moments. All 14 incidents involved either use of force or discovery of evidence. Then Kim found the smoking gun, an email, dated July 12, 2023, 3 months before the Marcus Chen incident, from Captain Linda Morrison to Officer Derek Paulson. Subject, RE, Community Complaints. Derek, I fielded another call from the Oakmont Homeowners Association about your patrol tactics in their neighborhood. We both know you're doing good police work, but we need to be smarter about optics. Just be more careful. Make sure your paperwork justifies the stop. Document articulable facts. You know I have your back, but we need to cover our bases here. The supervisor knew. She didn't investigate. She didn't discipline. She didn't implement any corrective measures. She coached him to hide it better. Additional emails showed Morrison had dismissed complaints without interviewing witnesses, without reviewing available video footage, without conducting even basic follow-up. Her supervision file revealed a pattern: protect officers at all costs, dismiss complainants as unreliable, close cases quickly to avoid scrutiny, institutional failure, documented, undeniable. When Detective Kim interviewed Paulson 4 weeks after the incident, he couldn't articulate a single legal justification for stopping Marcus Chen. Why did you stop Mr. Chen? He looked suspicious. What specifically made him suspicious? Just the way he was acting. How was he acting? Nervous, looking around. The video shows him calmly walking to his mailbox and opening it. What about that appeared nervous? It's hard to explain. Officer instinct. What about his appearance or behavior gave you reasonable suspicion of criminal activity? He didn't fit the neighborhood. What does that mean? You know, he just seemed out of place. Mr. Chen lives there. He was at his own mailbox. What made him seem out of place? Silence. Officer Paulson, you stopped 427 people over 8 years. 73% were minorities in a county that's 18% non-white. Can you explain that statistical pattern? I stop suspicious people. That's my job. But 89% of your stops resulted in no arrest and no citation. If they were truly suspicious, wouldn't criminal activity have been discovered more often? Paulson had no answer. When confronted with the Ring camera footage showing him planting evidence, he invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. The interview lasted 14 minutes. His career ended with it. Detective Kim's final report ran 58 pages. The findings were unambiguous. Officer Derek Paulson, evidence tampering, felony. False arrest, Fourth Amendment violations, pattern of racial profiling documented across 427 stops, abuse of authority, pattern of targeting minorities in white neighborhoods, Captain Linda Morrison, failure to supervise, obstruction of internal investigations, enabling of misconduct through systematic dismissal of complaints, active coaching to conceal pattern rather than correct behavior. Riverside County Sheriff's Department, inadequate complaint review procedures, no statistical tracking of officer stop patterns, no early warning system to identify problematic behavior, insufficient oversight of supervisory decisions, recommendation, immediate termination of Officer Paulson for cause, disciplinary action up to and including termination for Captain Morrison, mandatory department-wide reforms, November 29, 2023, 6 weeks after that Wednesday afternoon at the mailbox. Derek Paulson sat in a termination hearing facing the evidence that destroyed him. The Ring camera footage, undeniable in 4K clarity. The 9-complaint pattern he thought was buried. The statistical analysis proving racial bias. Captain Morrison's emails proving institutional knowledge and cover-up. His attorney tried every defense. The baggie could have been there all along. The video's timestamps destroyed that argument. The stop was justified by reasonable suspicion. Paulson's own interview admission of officer instinct undermined it. His record showed dedication to public safety. The 9 dismissed complaints and 73% minority stop rate eliminated any credibility. The hearing lasted 47 minutes, exactly the same amount of time Marcus Chen spent handcuffed in a patrol car. The decision was unanimous. Termination for cause. Effective immediately. Badge surrendered. Weapon surrendered. Access to all department systems revoked. Paulson appealed to the Civil Service Board. 3 months later, they denied it unanimously. The evidence was too overwhelming, the misconduct too egregious, the pattern too clear. His post-certification, his license to work in law enforcement anywhere, in California, was flagged for review and subsequently revoked. Derek Paulson would never work as a police officer again. Captain Linda Morrison wasn't fired. She was given a choice: retire immediately or face termination proceedings that would become public record. She chose retirement. Her pension was reduced by 18% due to misconduct findings. Her 28-year career ended in disgrace, her legacy now defined by the officers she protected rather than the community she served. December 2023, Marcus Chen filed a federal civil rights lawsuit. The claims: Fourth Amendment violations, false arrest, evidence tampering, malicious prosecution, racial profiling, supervisory liability, municipal liability for inadequate training and oversight. The county's insurance carrier reviewed the Ring camera footage. Their assessment was immediate and unambiguous. We cannot prevail at trial. Settlement is strongly recommended. 11 months after that Wednesday afternoon, the settlement was finalized. $1.2 million paid to Marcus Chen. No admission of wrongdoing. Standard legal language that fooled absolutely no one. But Chen demanded more than money. The settlement mandated 5 specific enforceable reforms. Automated early warning systems tracking every stop by race and outcome. Independent civilian review board with subpoena power. Body camera accountability protocols with third-party audits. Enhanced implicit bias training doubled to 24 hours annually using the Chen case as a primary teaching example, and a 5-year Department of Justice consent decree with federal monitoring. The reforms didn't just change Riverside County. 6 neighboring California departments adopted similar systems voluntarily to avoid federal intervention. The ring camera footage, with Chen's permission, now appears in 47 police academies nationwide, FBI executive training, constitutional law courses at 23 universities, and ACLU Know Your Rights presentations. Marcus Chen used $200,000 of his settlement to establish a scholarship fund for students pursuing civil rights law. He was promoted to assistant principal. He still lives in Oakmont Estates. That ring camera is still recording. If this story matters to you, share it. Hit subscribe for more accountability stories. Drop a comment. What was the most important lesson? Because what happened to Marcus Chen could happen to anyone, but what he did about it, that's the roadmap.